trying to comprehend what Srila Prabhupada had said and the seriousness of the ashrama I had just entered. The process of Krishna consciousness is perfect, Prabhupada added affectionately. Just follow this process with all sincerity, offer this life to Krishna, and try to serve him to the best of your ability. Try to develop your love for him, and the rest will automatically happen. Then he said something that sounded me like a ultimate secret of spiritual success. Maya is extremely strong because it is Krishna's potency. Devi, uh, Prabhuji, can you read this one? Devi, Devi by Isa Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya.
Devi Hesha Gunmai Mammaya Durutara.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. It is impossible to overcome. But if you remain in the association of devotees, then Maya will not be able to touch you because Maya is Krishna's external potency. Whereas the association of devotees in Krishna's internal is Krishna's internal potency. Therefore, always remain in the association of devotees and never ever go away from that shelter. One concern kept into my mind. Srila Prabhupada, I asked, if I am alone on an island, then what will happen to me?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I think Prabhuji got disconnected. But Preeti Mataji is there. Preeti Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, the light went away, Ronnie Prabhu.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
Oh, maybe the phone got connected faster.
Okay, okay.
The laptop is taking time, I guess.
Okay.
ठीक है, and मैं data पे भी थी, so that's why perhaps.
So I'll wait then. Yeah.
हरे कृष्णा। प्रीति माता जी, आज लाइट की प्रॉब्लम नहीं सॉर्ट आउट हुई?
नहीं माता जी, यहाँ एक जनरेटर खराब हो गया है, तो बैकअप जनरेटर, सो लाइट प्रॉब्लम बहुत सारी है आज सुबह से. दे आर फिक्सिंग इट अप. तो कर रहे हैं लोग काम उस पे, सो इसलिए टाइम लगता है वापस आने में. What I'll do is I'll give him this phone and see. I'll give him the phone.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So Prabhuji just called. Shashi Mataji, you continue reading, and
Okay.
Prabhuji will join, and I will share the screen in some time. Prabhuji will send me the link to the book.
Okay. So I'll continue.
Yes.
I think सबके पास बुक है हाथ में ना?
हाँ, माताजी थोड़े से हैं जिनके पास नहीं है.
Okay.
नेहा माताजी. हाँ, so Shashi Mataji.
I'll continue then.
Yes.
Okay. I'll start one line back. Okay. One concern crept into my mind, Srila Prabhupada. I asked, if I am alone on an island, then what will happen to me? Just remember the instructions of the devotees, he said. That is also association. My heart overflowing with joy, I offered Prabhupada my obeisances, silently requesting, please bless me, Srila Prabhupada, that I never go away from the shelter of your lotus feet. After giving me sannyas, Srila Prabhupada became quite strict about his kitchen and who could enter. No woman, it all happened one afternoon when Upendra brought Prabhupada's prasad and informed him that it had been prepared by one of our god sisters. Prabhupada asked where she had cooked it, and when Upendra said that she had cooked it in his kitchen, Prabhupada asked why she had been there. She wanted to prepare something for you, Upendra said, and that was the only place where she could. Srila Prabhupada immediately called Tamal Krishna Maharaj and told him that he should let everyone know that no woman should be allowed in his kitchen, and from then on, none were. The kitchen services were transferred to male devotees. When I asked Tamal Krishnam why Prabhupada had taken this action, he said that it was because of me. Now that I was a sannyasi, Prabhupada was taking precautions for my protection. Srila Prabhupada knows how fallible I am, I said, and he is kindly protecting me. Again, I silently thanked His divine grace for His mercy. And I
Hare
was
Krishna.
okay.
No, please continue, Mataji.
Okay. And I was reminded that I should be cautious about associating with women and focus and determined in my new ashrama.
Hare Krishna. Thank
okay.
you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Next one is Parmeshwari Radhika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Most mornings, I was busy with Srila Prabhupada preparing his breakfast and doing other chores. And then in the afternoon, while he was taking rest, I would chant my rounds in a secluded grove of trees of the Parikrama Marg, the sandy path that circled Vrindavan. One afternoon, I was chanting with Tamal Krishna Maharaj in his office instead when in walked a tall, sinewy devotee with a bright, charming smile. Hey Rishikesha, Maharaj exclaimed as he rose and embraced him. Rishikesha Swami had been Srila Prabhupada's personal secretary.
Harikesh, this is Harikesh Maharaj.
Harikesh. Maharaj later told me, but he had given up that service to fulfill Prabhupada's request that he go take care of a problem in Germany, where devotees had been caught collecting money with false claims. Harikesh had not wanted to give up Prabhupada's personal service, but Prabhupada had insisted, and not only had Harikesh taken care of the problem, but he had also developed Germany into the most prosperous European zone, opened up preaching in the Soviet Union and communities Eastern Europe, directed the translation and printing of Srila Prabhupada's books into several languages, and provided spiritual and managerial leadership across the continent. When Harikesh had heard about Prabhupada's illness, he had increased book translation and production, running the presses 24 hours a day. And when he had learned that Prabhupada might leave his body, he rushed to Vrindavan with as many different translations as he could gather. He had just arrived, he said, and had come directly to see Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada had been resting. Tamal Krishna Maharaj told him, but he would be getting up soon. So Harikesh rushed to his room and returned a few minutes later, his arms piled high with books, recent translation into German, Hungarian, Swedish, Danish, and other European languages. When Upendra, Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, continue Guru.
Padhi Mataji.
When Upendra came in and informed us that Srila Prabhupada was ready to meet Harikesh in his room, we all rushed in. Prabhupada was half reclining on his bed, propped up by pillows. He was clearly delighted to see Harikesh, and his face lit up with excitement when Maharaj showed him the books. Prabhupada asked Harikesh how many copies he had printed. 120,000 Krishna books. Harikesh told him 60,000 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam and 10,000 copies of Sri Ishopanishad. When Prabhupada asked whether Harikesh would be able to distribute them, Harikesh assured him that he could, and that when he would print more. And he would also have other books translated, printed, and distributed. Srila Prabhupada looked at Harikesh affectionately, placed his hand on his head, and said, "Now you understand why I sent you away. I knew you were meant to achieve something wonderful." Harikesh rested his head in Prabhupada's hand and began to cry. Srila Prabhupada just caressed him, tears flowing from his eyes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yes, Gauri Prabhu, you go.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Should I read?
Yes, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Okay. Another afternoon, when I was sitting with Tamal Krishna Maharaj in his office, Gunarnav Das came in looking worried and informed us that he received news that Muslims had attacked the temple in Mayapur. The devotees led by Bhavananda Maharaj had defended themselves, but when the police had come, they had arrested Maharaj and the devotees instead of the attackers. The three of us went right to Srila Prabhupada and told him about what had happened. He was very concerned and asked me to investigate. The telephone connections were bad, so it took a while to get through, but I finally managed to speak with devotees in Mayapur who had witnessed the incident. Some Muslims had been grazing their cows in the ISKCON rice paddies, and when the devotees had driven the Muslims off, the incident escalated into a fight. One of the Muslims had been caught by the devotees and taken to a room in the Gurukul where Nitai Chand Das, the Mayapur general manager, had ordered that they shave his head. That had led to a reaction. Nitai Chand had later been caught alone off the ISKCON property near the Ganga and nearly beaten up. Another devotee, Brahmapad Das, had come to his defense and saved him, fighting against a group of Muslims. But then a larger group, possibly incited by agitators from another mutt, had entered the temple and attacked worshipping devotees, including an American woman, Vishalakshi Devidasi. Bhavananda Maharaj had tried to scare them off with a shotgun, and a few of the attackers had been hit with buckshot, but there had not been any major injuries. Still, when the police had finally arrived quite a bit later, instead of arresting the attackers, they had arrested Maharaj and the other devotees, bound them, and marched them to the police station in Navadvip, where they were held in custody. When Srila Prabhupada heard the details of my report, he began to cry. He said, "These demons cannot tolerate the devotees." After a few days, we received the news that the devotees had been released and the charges dropped.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, next we have Radha Premprada Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat.
Dandavat.
Tamal Krishna Maharaj was very careful during that period about who would be let in to see Srila Prabhupada. Generally, only very important visitors, senior local Vaishnavas and senior devotees were allowed in, and only when they had something important to discuss with Srila Prabhupada. So I was surprised one late afternoon when I went into Prabhupada's room and saw an elderly Vaishnava dressed in white with just a loincloth and a piece to cover his torso, sitting on the chair next to Srila Prabhupada's bed. There was something about his demeanor and the way he was speaking with Prabhupada that gave me the impression he was an exalted Vaishnava. He and Prabhupada were talking intimately and laughing boisterously like two young boys. The visitor was Srila Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, a senior disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was the only devotee in the Gaudiya Mutt whom Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had allowed to accept the renounced order of Babaji. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had generally been critical of Babajis because they were prematurely imitating the exalted Paramahansa stage of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. But Babaji was actually an exalted spiritual status beyond sannyasa. The sannyasa order, marked by saffron, is the highest stage of spiritual advancement in the material nature. But beyond that is the spiritual reality, where white signifies pure goodness. One could see that Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj was situated on that platform. He was constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord. Due to the joy that he felt within, he sometimes expressed himself with hearty laughter, which was contagious. Whoever was around him would also start laughing. I felt embarrassed for laughing so hard in front of Srila Prabhupada, which I had never done before, but I couldn't help myself. When I followed him out after his meeting with Srila Prabhupada, he smiled, asked how and when I had joined, and expressed his happiness that I had taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada. The most prominent godbrother of Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan was Sripad Bon Maharaj, who had an aristocratic bearing and was known for his scholarship and erudition. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had sent him to England and Germany to preach, and he had lived there for some years, meeting and preaching to many important people. He had also established a Vaishnava university in Vrindavan. Whenever he visited, they had intimate exchanges. One evening, Bon Maharaj came along with Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. Seeing his close friends, Srila Prabhupada's face lit up with a bright smile. I arranged 2 chairs near his bed for them to speak together. Babaji Maharaj glorified Srila Prabhupada for his achievements around the world, and Srila Bon Maharaj agreed, saying that Srila Prabhupada had been blessed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then, in his cheerful manner, Babaji Maharaj said to Bon Maharaj, "You are a great preacher. He is also a great preacher. You are a great scholar. He is also a great scholar. You have a very good command over the English language. He also has a wonderful command over the English language. You went to the West. He also went to the West. Then how come he has been so successful, but you were not?"
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Next
Thank
we
you.
have, thank you. Preeti, you want to read?
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Srila Bon Maharaj smiled without saying anything. Srila Prabhupada looked embarrassed and remained silent. Babaji Maharaj broke that uneasy silence because of his unflinching faith in the holy name. During his sannyas initiation in Mathura, I was there. Keshav Maharaj was chanting various Vedic mantras. I started to sing the Mahamantra. Some devotees felt that my loud chanting may have been disturbing the ceremony and asked me to stop. I was about to stop, but Swami Maharaj, with the gesture of his hands, urged me to continue, and I did. I also heard that when he went to America, he used to sit alone under a tree in a park and just sing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, playing kartals. See how much faith and conviction one needs to do that. And now we can see the extent of his success. People say that I have a taste for chanting the holy name. However, I just chant myself, but he made the whole world chant. That is the difference between him and us. Bon Maharaj agreed. Yes, he has been specially empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because of his attachment to the holy name and his unalloyed devotion. Srila Prabhupada looked at me and said, "Get some prasad for them." Just some fruits, they said. Even though I was almost constantly engaged in serving Srila Prabhupada in his quarters, I was still able to develop relationships with some of the devotees. Bharadraj Das was well known as an artist in ISKCON, and I had seen his paintings in Prabhupada's books. We became good friends, and when I was in the kitchen, he often helped, cutting vegetables and washing the pots. When there was nothing to do, he would sometimes just watch me cook and talk to me. Bharadraj was from Russia. His parents had emigrated to America after the Second World War. He knew both Russian and Sanskrit, and he told me about the close connection between the two languages. At first, I did not believe it, but Bharadraj insisted. Give me any word and I'll tell you its similarity in two languages, he challenged. There was a door behind him, so that was the first word that came to mind. Door, I said. Door. Devri in Russian, he answered, and Dwar in Sanskrit. Girl. Devoka in Russian, Devi in Sanskrit. Heat. He thought for a while and admitted, I can't get the right word, but fire is quite close to that. Again in Russian and Agni in Sanskrit. I was impressed with the similarities of language, with Bharadraj's knowledge, and once again with how Srila Prabhupada had collected the most brilliant gems of devotees from all over the world. Another wonderful devotee was Ayodhyapati Das. He looked like a champion bodybuilder and had a heart of gold. Although the temple had professional cooks, Ayodhyapati loved to feed the devotees. Even in the blasting heat of the Vrindavan summer, he would make a really sumptuous meals. He was an excellent cook, and whenever he fed the devotees, they would become ecstatic as if they were celebrating a festival. Almost every day, devotees would come and chant in Srila Prabhupada's room. That was how they could be around him. Some would also play harmonium, but Prabhupada, who was an excellent musician, would get disturbed if they did not play it properly, and eventually he suggested that no one should play harmonium in his room.
Hare Krishna.
One evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, next we have Neha Kumra Mataji, and if any devotee who has not read, they can raise their hands for reading session. Go ahead, Neha Kumra Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the screen is not very clear on my I'll try to read as much as I can. It's not clear actually. It is the words are jumbling and all. So maybe anyone who has book can read.
Okay, Mataji.
Yes. Hare
So,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Is there a
Mataji.
problem, Prabhuji, in the screen sharing? Like
Earlier also there was a problem. Yes, now also I can see big blocks, rectangular blocks on the screen. No problem.
Is it okay now?
Yes, I mean, right now it's okay. No problem. I'll read few paras and then we'll see if anybody, Hare Krishna, I'll read few paras, and if anybody has a book with them or they can see the screen clearly, then they can raise their hands. I'll read it for you. Paras. One evening, lying on his bed with his eyes closed, Srila Prabhupada heard someone chanting and playing the harmonium. I was sitting at his bedside, attending him, and he asked me to tell the devotees not to play the harmonium. It was Bharadraj. I passed along Srila Prabhupada's request and he immediately stopped. When I went back to Prabhupada's bedside, he asked softly, "Who was that?" "Bharadraj, Prabhu," I replied. "Oh, he can play." Srila Prabhupada liked Hansadutta Swami's chanting. Maharaj had a sweet but powerful voice with a unique high-pitched and penetrating tone. Prabhupada at some time sent for him and asked him to chant the Brahma Samhita prayers, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamham Bhajami. The melody was so touching and had such a magical effect that even today, when I think of Srila Prabhupada in his room, lying on his bed in a meditative mood, I hear Hansadutta singing in his high melodious voice. Because of the summer heat, Srila Prabhupada liked to sleep on the roof. But most nights he barely slept. He would just translate Srimad Bhagavatam. One night, after translating, an hour or so after midnight, he was sitting on his bed and asked me to massage his back. While massaging him, I noticed that devotees were watching from the windows of their rooms in the guest house next door. Most had come from America, Europe, Australia, but due to Prabhupada's poor health, they rarely got a chance to see. and they were taking advantage of the opportunity. Once again, I became aware of my good fortune. Srila Prabhupada had more than 5,000 followers who would do anything to have even a moment of his association. But even though I had only recently come to ISKCON and was still such a neophyte devotee, I was personally serving him every day. I wished I had been there early in his mission when he had been alone in America with no one to serve him. My heart melting with gratitude, I told him, Srila Prabhupada, I wish I had been there with you when you were alone in the New York. He was silent for a moment, then he said, I was never alone. Krishna was always with me. I felt humbled by Prabhupada's exalted position. He was so dear to Krishna. I understood that Krishna personally took care of him and was with him at every moment. He did not need any service from us. He was giving us the opportunity to serve him out of his causeless mercy. I kept on thinking, Krishna. I kept on thanking Krishna for my good fortune. Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to read or should I continue? Neha Mataji, can you see?
Yes, Prabhuji. Now it's clear. So I'll read for a bit. Then
Go ahead,
anyone
ma'am.
else can also. Hare Krishna. One afternoon, surrounded by senior devotees, Srila Prabhupada was glorifying Shankaracharya, proclaiming him to be one of our acharyas. I felt a little confused because on other occasions I had heard Prabhupada criticize Shankaracharya's teachings called Mayavad. Since there were so many senior devotees present, I remained quiet. But that night, I rather hesitatingly asked him how Shankaracharya was our acharya when his teachings were against pure devotional service. Srila Prabhupada was silent for a few minutes. Then he looked at me and asked, do you know why Krishna descended as Lord Buddha? Yes, Srila Prabhupada, I replied. In this age of Kali, in the name of Vedic sacrifice, people were killing countless animals. Seeing that, the tender heart of Krishna became afflicted, and to stop animal sacrifice, he descended as Lord Buddha. Srila Prabhupada nodded his approval and softly recited the verse from Jayadev Goswami's Gita Govind. Nindasi yagna vidhe aha shruti jatam sadhya hridaya darshita pashu ghatam. Keshav Dhrit Buddh Sarir Jai Jagdish Hare. Sadhya Hridaya, he continued, his compassionate heart. Drishtya Pasu Ghatam. Seeing that innumerable animals were being slaughtered in the name of Vedic sacrifice, he decried the Vedas and started a new kind of religion. However, when his goal had been achieved and animal sacrifice had been stopped and Buddhism had spread all over India, he saw the need to re-establish the Vedas because the Vedas are the only means to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he instructed Lord Shiva to come and re-establish the Vedas. That incarnation of Lord Shiva is Shankaracharya. Mayavadyam Ashachatram Prashachanam Bodham Uchyate Mayave Vihitam Devi Kalau Brahmana Murtina. Lord Shiva had informed Goddess Durga that in the age of Kali, appearing as a Brahman, he would explain the Vedas through false scriptures, propagating a philosophy that is actually covered Buddhism. Shankaracharya came in order to re-establish the Vedas over the doctrines of Lord Buddha. Using Buddhist teachings, he defeated them. Lord Buddha taught that the ultimate goal of life is to attain nirvana, which means to become nothing, shunya, void. But Shankaracharya pointed out that nirvana is actually a Vedic concept and does not mean to become nothing, but to become one with Brahman, the spiritual reality. He described Brahman as devoid of any form, quality, potency, or variety, Nirakar, Nirgun, Nihashaktika, or Nirveshya. He needed to do that in order to convince the Buddhists who did not accept any concept of God. In this way, Sripad Shankaracharya established that the ultimate goal of life is to merge into Brahman. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is stated that Lord Buddha's doctrine of voidism is actually covered atheism. Veda na manye bodh haya te nashtika. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 6.168. Since the Buddhists did not accept the Vedas, they are atheist, Nastic. And Shankaracharya's teaching, Keval Advaitwad, has been described as covered Buddhism. Prachanam Bodhyam Uchyate, as Lord Shiva told Parvati. Buddhism is therefore covered atheism, and Shankaracharya's Mayavad is covered Buddhism. Both Buddha and Shankaracharya had their specific purposes, one to stop animal killing, the other to re-establish the Vedas. Shankaracharya could not present the pure teachings of the Vedas, that the absolute truth is the supreme personality of Godhead, and that the ultimate goal of life is surrendering to Him, because the Buddhists, who were atheists, would not have accepted it. Therefore, he took their concept of voidism and established the concept of impersonalism. However, once the Vedas were re-established by Shankaracharya, the Vaishnava Acharyas, Ramanujacharya, Madhavacharya, Vishnu Swami, and Nimbarkaracharya re-established the actual Vedic concept of personalism through their teachings. However, that created a conflict between Shankaracharya's doctrine and the Vaishnav doctrines, between impersonalism and personalism. To harmonize that conflict, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared and established Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Devotees, those who have not read, would anybody like to read? Then you can raise your hand. Those who have not read any portion today and would like to read. Okay, Mataji. I'll read some paras. This development can be understood through this analogy. On the ground of the covered atheism of Buddhism, Shankaracharya dug the foundation. And on that foundation, the four Vaishnava Acharyas built the temple. And in that temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established the deities of Shri Radha Krishna. So this particular analogy, this Guru Maharaj gives many a times, and how he tells how, like Shankaracharya, to make a building, you have to go negative. So he went negative. So basement is dug, underground, like that. So you have to go negative. And then the four Vaishnava Acharyas came and they built the room. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he established the deities of Shri Radha Krishna. So this whole understanding in last 2 pages we have read, what was the purpose of Shankaracharya's manifestation, and how Lord came, Krishna came as a Buddha to stop animal killing. Keshava Dhrita Buddha Shrira Jaya Jagadisha. So it is Keshava Dhrita Buddha Shrira. Krishna himself has come in the form of Buddha. And these 2 pages very wonderfully explain in a very proper manner the understanding of Vaishnava and also Shankaracharya. And that is for this purpose that Prabhupada never criticized Shankaracharya, but he criticized his followers who followed him blindly without realizing what further Vaishnava Acharyas, tikas, but they don't read those tika, they only read Shankaracharya's tika. So that's why Prabhupada criticized the philosophy and the followers, blind followers, but he didn't criticize Shankaracharya per se. So I'll read further. In reality, the entire building stands on that foundation. However, while the building goes upwards, the foundation goes downwards, what we discussed just now, apparently in the opposite direction. Similarly, Shankaracharya's doctrine apparently seems to oppose the actual teachings of the Vedas. But when we see the total development, we see that it is actually an integral part of the entire body. As a matter of fact, it is due to Shankaracharya's effort that the Vedas were re-established, and eventually Vaishnavism was revived and reinstated. I began to reflect on so many misconceptions I had developed about Shankaracharya. They had all been cleared away by Srila Prabhupada's words, and my heart was filled with immense gratitude for him. Shankaracharya is Lord Shiva himself, Prabhupada said, one of the greatest devotees of Krishna. From his childhood pastimes, Shankaracharya showed his deep attachment to Krishna And just before his disappearance, he instructed, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam Mudamate, Samprapte Sanhiti Kale, Na Vihi, Nahi Rakshati, Duprin Karne. You fools, just worship Govinda, worship Govinda, worship Govinda. At the time of death, your grammatical debate and word jugglery will not save you. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 7114. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also mentions Tada doshe nahi teho agya kari das arye shune tar haya sarvanash. Shankaracharya does not have any fault because he is just an order carrying servant. However, one who listens to the Mayavad commentary is doomed. Swarup Damodar Prabhu walked into the room, indicating that my shift was over, but he could see that Prabhupada was talking to me, so he sat down without a word. Srila Prabhupada continued, Mayavadis see only the oneness between the Supreme Absolute Truth and the individual soul, and Vaishnavas see the differences. And as a result, there is a conflict between them. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu provided a resolution to that conflict, that is philosophy of Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva, inconceivable simultaneous oneness and difference. Spiritually, the living entities are qualitatively one with the Lord, but quantitatively they are different. The Lord is spiritual and the living entities are also spiritual. But Lord is absolute, whereas living entities are minute. And that is the difference. Then he looked at me affectionately and suggested, now you go and take rest. Hare Krishna. So wonderful. So thank you, devotees, for joining us. Whenever I see the book, I see almost 80% we have finished. When we started Ocean of Mercy, I never thought in such small time we'll be able to read so much. And I'm not dreading what will happen when the book is finished. Our sessions will be over. So, and we all hope and pray that by that time, lotus feet of Guru Maharaj will come out of the hospital. So we'll see that wonderful smile again and be placed at his lotus feet. So I will end the session now. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Dev Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.